Hello guys, what's going on? This is Gareth, and today I'm going to be showing you basically a C# tutorial, and this is going to be pretty cool because essentially it's just going to be reflecting on everything that I've learned so far in second year. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to File and we're going to go to New Project, as you can see here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to choose the Windows Form app using the .NET framework, and we're just going to call the project something simple like let's just call it YouTube shop. Yeah, I'll just call it that, YouTube shop. So if we just click OK, and make sure when you're doing this that you're on the .NET framework, as that'll be important for what we're going to be doing. So essentially what this program is it's going to be like a miniature shop where users can add, different items to the shop, like a description, a name. And as you can see, we've got a form which is empty, and we've got a bunch of stuff everywhere. And if you've never used Visual Studio before, you'll be pretty lost, like you'll be confused as to what's happening here. There's a lot going on, but bear with me because this is actually quite straightforward once you get used to it. What we're going to do is, I've actually already made some notes on what this video is going to be around on. I just thought, why not just do a simple shop inventory system with the CRUD actions, create, remove, update and destroy, all of the basic functionality that you'd expect in a program. The whole idea of this is that users can add items to the shop, but also the items can be put into subcategories as well. So for instance, like a graphics card or a computer, that would be under the electronics section, as you'd probably expect. Anything that's related to food will be under the food section. And we've got these different categories that I've just basically copied off Amazon to sort of lay the groundwork for what we're going to be using. So because we've started this program and it's completely blank, what we need to do is we need to actually set up our form and our form controls so that we can actually begin using the program. Because currently, if I just hit start like this, you're going to notice that the program's just blank, and that's obviously because we've not done anything. So yeah, so that's absolutely useless. Nobody wants a program that doesn't do anything. It's completely pointless. First of all, if you just click on your toolbox here, and in the search box just type in list, and then it should come down under all Windows Forms and all of these stuff. But we're only interested in the list box for now. So if we just go ahead and do that, and we're going to drag this onto the form and just make it a bit bigger so that you can see it a bit more. So, and then after you've done that, you want to go back to the toolbox and you want to begin typing in a label. So yeah, actually, in fact, we'll not worry about the label. So what we want to do next is we want to add a button. So we're going to put a button here, and we can also expand the button, make it bigger by dragging it like this. And as you can see, we've got a button here. It's called button 1. We'll change this. So if you come down to the properties section, make sure that you're under the properties icon, which is right here. So make sure you've clicked on that. And you should, if you scroll down to under the appearance section, you should see that there's a text option here with button 1. So if we just click on that, we delete it. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in add item like this. So this is going to be our add item button. And I'm just going to basically resize this so that the button looks a lot nicer. And what I just did there is if you just click on the button and then press Ctrl+C on your keyboard, Ctrl and C, you'll get another button like so on the button, and then type in remove item. There we go, we've renamed it. So basically keep repeating the process, make sure that you've copied 3 buttons like so. And so we should be left with a add item, a remove item, and an edit item, like so. So now we've got our buttons, and now we've got our list box. What we want to do is we need to start renaming our form controls so that we can actually use them and we know what they are. So if we just click on the list box and scroll down under, if you want to scroll down to the design section on the properties, and you want to change the name to LST output, we'll just call it that for now. So this is essentially going to contain all of the items that we want to display to the user. And then if you click on the buttons as well, and we're just going to call this btn add, and that is going to be our add item button. And then if we click on edit, we'll rename this to btn edit, and then we'll click on remove and btn remove, like so. So now we've done this, we've essentially done everything that we need to do for now. So now what we want to do is we want to, if you just come over to the bit where your project is, you should see that the name of it's here and it's got a little C# icon next to it. So if you just right click on that and then go to add, and then you want to click on Windows Form, and this screen should come up if you've done that. And then we're just going to call it, this is going to be on our new form that we're making, so we're just going to call this Form 2. And Form 2 is going to be our form for adding items to the list box. So if we just resize it like I showed you there by dragging this, and then what we'll do is we will make some text boxes. So if we just drag, if we go to our toolbox and type in text box and just drag it onto the form, it'll allow us to
position it here. So then once you've done that, we can resize the text boxes as well so that you can see a bit more of them. So if I just position it here, and
what we're going to do is, as well as, we're going to include a label as well so that the user knows what these different text boxes are for. So if we call this ID and Control C, Control V to get the same thing twice, we'll just drag that up here, and we'll call this the name, so that like so, and then we'll Control C, Control V. I'm going to delete this because first of all, an ID is an integer. I really want the user typing in anything that isn't a number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a form control called numeric up down, and that is like that just allows you to select a number basically. This will be really useful for later on for when we detect duplicate IDs or duplicate event names or item names, sorry, to make sure that the user can't add the same item twice. So we need the price as well. So we'll just call this price instead of name. So if we just use the numeric up down for price as well, it'll be the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the price numeric up down thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to data, and we're going to go to the decimal places one, and we're going to set that to 1. And as you can see, it's now got a decimal place in between the numbers, which is pretty cool. We're going to increment by 0.01 because that's going to increment by a penny basically each time the user clicks on that. We also want a description, so just type in text. So there's an option here called multi-line, and if we set this to true, you want to set this to true so that we can change the size of this, as you can see. So now we'll just drag this out so that's a bit bigger and it can contain a lot more characters, like so. Another label here and call it, let's just call this description. There you go, like so. Include a quantity so that the shopkeeper, whoever, can actually specify how many items they want to sell. Label. And we're going to use a numeric up down for this as well, because a quantity is a number, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Okay, so I think for here, I think this would be really useful if we set the default value to 1. So if we just say the minimum is 1, because obviously if you're going to sell something to somebody, you're not going to sell them nothing. Like, you can't just sell an item that has no quantity, because what's the point? So now finally what we're going to do is we're going to add a button as well so that the user can add the item to the list box. So if we just do this, and we're going to call this add item, this button here, and we'll just put this here. I know the design doesn't look very nice. The text boxes aren't really centered on the form. They're not really spaced out very nicely, but who cares? So basically, what you want to do now is you want to click on your form and you want to go down to the text property here and just call it add item. And as you can see, it's updated here to show you that it has in fact updated. So this form here is going to be our add item form. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that we need to cover for this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and hope it was quite easy to follow, and I'll see you in the next video. Right, what's going on, guys? This is Gareth. I'm back again with another video of C#. In this video we're going to actually do classes and the structure of our program. What we're going to do is we're going to come over to our YouTube shop name here, and if you just right click on that and just click on add and then new item, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a class. So if we just click on class and then rename this to item, so just click on class and then make a class called item, like so. So if I just zoom in here so you can see it. So basically what we've done is we made a class and we've called it item. And this class is going to contain all of the properties of the items that we're going to add to the list. So what we're going to do is, first of all, is we're going to look at these properties here and we're going to add them to our class. So if I just start doing this now, if you just copy what I'm doing and I'll explain.
Okay, so what we want to do first is we actually want to declare our private variables. So if I just do private int id, private. Okay, so we've also got the name as well. So private string name. We want the private string. So we want id. We also want the quantity as well. So the great thing about this is that we can actually define two variables on the same line. So I just do this quantity. So int id in quantity. We also want a description as well. So description. And actually we want these to be lowercase because private variables tend to be lowercase quantity. So we've got id, quantity, name, description, and we also want a review as well. So it's a name, description, and we want review. Well, actually, no, we don't want. So we've got all of this, but also what we want is we want an array of reviews as well. So we'll do that. So we've got the ID, the quantity, the name, description, and then we've also got an array of reviews. So this object here will contain all of the reviews that users add to the item.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to make our public properties so that we can set the values and control what happens. So if we do
name, get, and then we'll do set. I'm sure there's an easy way to do this. You can just generate them on the fly, but I'm actually just going to type them out for the sake of this tutorial. Name, get, set. Yes, we'll do that. We also want a public string description as well, so we'll do that. Get, set, and we want a public string reviews. Get and set.
There we go. So we've got our public properties, and you'll notice as well we've got errors here as well, and that's just because it's not returning anything. Because this is like essentially it's like a method. It's a public property. It's returning of type integer and type string and blah blah blah. So what we want to do is we want to do if we are trying to get the ID of the item, we want to do return ID. And also what we want to do is we want to set the ID as well. So ID equals value.
And then we're going to do for the name as well, we're going to do return name, and we're going to do name equals value. And we're going to return here description. And we're going to do description equals value, just like this. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to return the review as well. So return reviews, and we're going to, oh, I didn't like that. Oh yeah, so I forgot. We need to do this. Yeah, so I forgot about that. So because it's an array, we want to return an array. So just make sure that you include these two brackets here so that it actually works. And then we're going to do reviews equals value. So these are our public properties for the item class.
And what we're going to do is we're going to do our constructors for the item.
So we do public item. And I'll tell you later, I can't speak. So we do public item. So now we've made our default constructor for our item. We're just going to leave this blank for now because it doesn't really need to do anything. And we're going to do public item.
And this is going to be our parameterized constructor here as well. So
if I just begin typing in, we're going to expect an integer of ID. We're going to expect, let's have a look. We're also going to expect a string of name. We're going to expect a description. And what we'll do is we'll just call this, we'll put an input underneath each of the different variable names so that we can differentiate what we're inputting compared to the actual variables here. And we'll do string reviews. And we also need to say that that is an array as well.
So here we've got our default constructor. This is called whenever the class is instantiated in the main class. And then we've got our parameterized constructor, which is called whenever we specifically are putting data through from the form into the class, if that makes sense. Oh, we forgot the quantity. So if we do int input quantity, like so. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got a parameterized constructor. We've also got a default constructor. What we're going to do is we're going to basically, if this is called, which it shouldn't be, without any values that are passed in, we need to set all of these to like a default value. So I'm going to say
ID equals, we'll just call this -1. We'll say quantity equals -1. We'll say the name equals undefined. We'll also say the reviews is equal to undefined. So basically, if the class is called without, if it's called in a way that we don't want it to, this will actually return something useful. So reviews, description equals undefined. I just want to call this an int, does not exist. I've spelled it wrong, that's why. Description, yep.
Because reviews is an array, what we're going to do is we're actually going to just put a 0 there because that's the first item in the array, so we'll just do that. And actually what we want to do is we want to have this as the public property instead. We don't want to be setting the ones directly. So, oh, I forgot to do a public property for the quantity, whoops. So we'll just do this.
So we're going to get, and then we're going to set. And what we're going to do is we're going to return the quantity value, like so. And we're going to set the quantity value equal to the value. So yeah, so that was why I basically completely forgot to put this in the default constructor, so that's why it didn't really work.
So yeah, we'll do ID quantity. So we've got all of our public properties. So now what we want to do is we want to set these to whatever the user passes into the actual class. So what we'll do is we'll say
the ID is equal to the input ID. We'll say the input quantity. No, sorry, I've got that the wrong way around. We want the quantity to be equal to the input quantity. We want the description to be equal to the input description.
And we want the reviews to be equal to the, I should probably rename that actually, we'll call that input reviews. Input reviews is equal to input reviews, like so. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a bunch of classes so that we can actually filter the items individually based on the category that they are.
So we'll do electronic, we'll do food, we'll also do house as well, so class house. So basically these are all going to be defined house, class toy. So electronic, food, house, toy and sport, class sport. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Electronic, food. Oh yeah, but we're missing body as well, so class body.
There we go. So basically what we've done is we've made a class called item, and item is basically the item that we want to display in the list. So this is the actual item, it's all of its properties, all of its key things. And what we want to do is we want to actually use inheritance for this as well. So if we do electronic is an item, so basically what we're doing is we're saying that the electronic class is an item, so it's going to contain all of this information. And to say that it is, we put like a little colon here to say that it is. So if we do, we'll do it for each one. So
electronic is an item is, let me just check something actually. Sprint 2, I think she did something different with that. How did she do it? Is an event, yeah, she did. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll do it for these as well, so we'll say item, is an item, is an item, and is an item, and is an item.
Now what you could do is you could extend this and you could actually go a bit further and say, oh well, the house, you could make subcategories and stuff like that, but we're not going to do that in this video, we're just going to keep it simple. Basically we have to make a method that allows the program, that allows us to see what each of these variables are, because currently if we just call this item it won't say what all of these are, it'll just print out the name of it. So if we do public override toString, if you type that in, it's just going to put all of this here. We don't really need this here, but we just need the return. So what we're going to do is we're going to return some custom information. So think of this as a type of message that is displayed whenever we call this item. So if we do return ID,
so we can actually put some formatting here. So if we do this, so if we say ID is ID, and you want to use these plus, basically you want to include these so that we're concatenating the string, we're adding this into the string. This is called string concatenation basically. ID and quantity, and then we'll say quantity.
And we want to make sure that when we're doing this, we're not using the lowercase ones. We want to be using the uppercase ones because these are the public properties that we are accessing the data from.
It's just more secure that way that we're doing it this way. So we've got the ID, the quantity, we want the name as well. So if we do name like that, and then we also want the description as well. So description, like so. And then we also want the reviews as well. So reviews, and then reviews.
So there we go. So that's basically what's going to be returned for our thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to make some public constructors for our different classes that we've made. So we'll just type in public for each of them.
So public food like so. Make sure that you put the brackets there as well, otherwise we'll get an error. So we want public house, like so. We want public toy, and we also want public sport. We want public body as well.
Make sure that you've copied all of the code in this video. This will help you drastically with your programming. And then we're going to save it. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to double click on our add item button. And we're just going to print out a message box to the screen. So messagebox.show. And we're going to print out the item. So what we need to do first is, before we do this, we need to actually make a object of the item. So if we do item 1 equals new item. And then what we want to do is we want to start passing in the information. We'll do an ID of 1. And as you can see, it tells us there what each one is, which is really useful.
So this is going to be the ID of 1. It's going to have a quantity of 10. It's going to have a name. Let's just call this GeForce GTX 1080. This is basically a type of graphics card. It's quite popular. It's quite important. We want a input description as well. So this is an item. Yeah, the most boring description you can think of, literally. And then
That's why. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What we can do is we can print this item object out using a message box. So if we just do item 1 dot toString, it will display a message that we've specified in here. So anything that we've written here will be shown when we show the message box. So basically now if you click start like this, so we're just going to start the program to see if it works, and if you click the add item button, you'll see that the item was actually read by the program, and it says the ID, the quantity, the name. This is an item, reviews. So yeah, it does actually it does work. It does show the information. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful. It's quite basic so far, but there's quite a lot to cover with all of this information. But this is basically the basics of objects and passing data between objects with programming. So hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next video which is coming up, and that one will be more in depth and it will show you a lot more about what we can do with the data and how to present it. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you guys later.